Clueless gamers, welcome back to the 4th edition of the Cluecast. Nemesis or Travis Crawford here, joined by my boy Luke Carr, 17 or Luke Carmichael. As you know, as you clicked on the title of the video today, we're here to talk about games that are either coming out in 2016 or are currently set to come out, which means it's to be decided in 2016. But first, let's talk about what we've played this week. Luke, man, what you been playing this week?
Yeah, what's up, Travis? Yeah, I've been playing a whole lot of FIFA still, FIFA 16. I played a little bit of Black Ops 3, here and there when I got a chance, but honestly, just FIFA. I didn't have a lot of time to play. There was a blizzard in New Jersey, and we happened to go to New Jersey this weekend. So
how many inches of snow did you say you got?
30 inches of snow.
Oh my! And here I was in Piketon, Ohio, complaining about my 6 to 8 inches or whatever it was.
Yeah, and we traveled to New Jersey knowing the storm was coming, so we just went before the storm came. Hung out there in the storm and then came back when it was over. So it was a quick, easy way out.
So it sounds like a good weekend.
It was a good time, that's for sure. But I did play some FIFA. What about you? What have you been playing this week?
Well, you might be surprised to hear this, but I've been playing Black Ops 3.
Oh, no way. I've never heard you play that game.
Interestingly enough, though, I haven't been grinding public matches as much this week as I had in weeks past. I got Dark Matter, been trying to grind for Nuked Out and things like that. But this week, I was playing a lot of zombies, trying to grind out some guns where I could get the red hex camo because I think it's awesome and red's my favorite color. So That was cool and fun. But even better times were had in the arena.
Oh yeah, I heard that came out and you're probably
which
pumped
is like
about
the arena. Well, it's been out since the game was released. And it's not something I've dabbled in because I don't always play with a party. And when we do, we usually just play regular public matches to stomp kids. But
yeah,
that's besides the point. We had a lot of fun playing in the arena, and it was a good time. For those of you who don't know what arena is, it's just basically a sweatier version of public matches that sort of emulate competitive Call of Duty, like the Pro Series of esports.
Yeah, but you get XP, right, during that?
Yep, okay. Yep. All the XP counts towards your public stuff, even your KD.
That's awesome. That actually sounds like
really
I think
legit. It's actually a viable way to level up if you're trying to grind.
Awesome.
I found myself getting 20 to 30,000 XP per search and destroy maps.
Oh
which,
my gosh!
I mean, search and destroy gets voted a lot in arena, which I love. Search and destroy. I've played a lot of it over my years of Call of Duty. Man, I created some memories back in the day on MW2 with some. Search and destroy.
Me too. It always happened to me. I would always get stuck in a glitch, and I was the last guy, and I needed to, disarm the bomb, last guy, and get stuck, and people just went insane. They were just screaming, cussing me out, messaging me hate mail.
And you were not one of those guys. Come on.
And I didn't do it on purpose. I just got stuck. Like, I got stuck underneath a train once. Like, are you kidding me? How's that gonna happen?
Well, maybe you need to be a bug tester for some developers out here.
That's what I'm doing,
We're going to sell you out here.
Exactly. Well, as Travis said, we are going to be previewing a whole bunch of games that are coming out or possibly coming out, to be determined this year. They could get delayed, that happens. But honestly, we're just going to give some of our opinions on these games, kind of give a little overview. And hopefully you guys enjoy it because, it might give us some variety to what's happening this year because there is a lot more than Call of Duty and Destiny and whatever coming out this year. It's going to be fun. So
it is going to be fun. And this list, these games we're talking about today, this is by no means all the games that are coming out in 2016.
Yeah, we just picked some good. We just picked some ones that are notable and that people probably would enjoy. There are a lot of
and that we would enjoy.
Yeah, that we would enjoy. So they're really third party games. They're games that people would know about. We do enjoy the underground games, but we kind of just want to talk about games that we know our audience is going to enjoy. So we all each have 5. So we're just gonna switch back and forth as we go. So
how you want to talk about these? You want to go down the list? Just randomly?
Yeah, we can just go randomly. I have
right, sounds good.
I have tabs on which ones I want to talk about. So I'll just go first. We're just going to switch back and forth. So the first one we're going to talk about is something that we talked about already last week. We'll just get it out of the way. The Division. Tom Clancy's The Division. We previewed it intensely last week. So essentially it's a RPG, open world, MMO, whatever you want to call it, game where you are a group of guys and you're in a post-apocalyptic New York City and you do anything and everything to make the city better. So Travis, I know we talked about this last week. The beta's coming out here in a few days. So what are you most excited about when it comes to this game?
Well, to be truthful, the thing I'm most excited for is to get out of my ways of the first-person shooter. I'm excited to experience something that is billed as an MMORPG that's in the third person and something that has an interface that looks as good as Tom Clancy's The Division. And, just the environment and the virtual experience that is being created by that game is something that I think is going to be a fun time. And I've already got my pre-order, and I will be playing the beta.
Awesome.
And I'm excited.
Great, yeah. I'm honestly, we'll go. This will be the quickest one we talk about because we talked about it so much last week. But I just wanted to put it in there because it's huge. It's like one of the most anticipated games out of these for right now, and that's only because it's an anticipated game that's going to have longevity. It's going to have a long life, hopefully. So I'm just excited for fresh gameplay. I'm excited for something fresh. This is going to be new. This is something, we've played in post-apocalyptic games, but not like this. It's not zombie-based that we know of. Maybe there's zombies in there somewhere, but they haven't said that. That's just
that would be an awesome surprise.
That would be a great surprise. But
it honestly would be super impressive if they have not leaked that information yet.
That's super awesome.
Yeah, they're tight-lipped. I applaud you, Ubisoft.
Yeah, so I'm just excited for the mystery that it is and to see what comes out of it. So The Division, Tom Clancy's Division. I'm pumped about it. Travis is pumped about it. So that's first game.
You wouldn't have thought I would be pumped about it because it is a third-person shooter, but you know what? I am pumped about it.
It's going to be good, man.
All the content I've been viewing online, it looks like something that it should be. Destiny was amazing, but Destiny's run dry, and
I can't even think about it. I don't even want to talk about Destiny. That's
I
how
agree.
much. That's how sore
I
am about it right now.
And Destiny has implemented new matchmaking for this installation of Iron Banner, and I think nobody's going to play it because the Division beta is out this weekend.
Nope, no one's playing it. Division. If they give out codes, man, gosh, I hope they give out codes to people.
Well, they're coming out with new batches of codes every day. Just follow their social media.
That's so hard, though. I tried that. I literally did it 5 seconds after, and it was done. There's got to be people that are just sitting there all day waiting for it to go.
You're probably right.
So, but, whatever. So that's the Division, guys. What's up next, Travis?
One of the games we're going to be talking about is one that's coming out pretty soon, and it's one of the ones that I'm more excited for because I've loved the Far Cry series, and the Far Cry series has been a beautiful set of games in terms of graphics, and not to mention the gameplay and the story for the most part has been pretty fun. But this year, Far Cry Primal is going to be released by Ubisoft, and I think it's going to be refreshing.
Yeah, it's going to be extremely, extremely refreshing because if you think back to every Far Cry game, there hasn't typically been one that's not modern. They're all there, except the very first one, where you kind of turn into it, you can turn kind of crazy animalish. This one's going to be and let me talk about this. Far Cry is a pivotal part of me and Travis's relationship. That
is true. I didn't even consider that.
So we met by me helping him put his PlayStation together. Didn't talk again for 3 years. After that, those 3 years or 2 years, I don't know one or the other. I ask him randomly if I can borrow Far Cry 3. I borrow it. I play it. Give it back to him. Relationship begins. So
yeah, I'm yeah, bro, just come up to my room and you can drop Far Cry 3 off or whatever.
Walk up there, get mesmerized by this kid playing video games, and then we become best friends. The end. So I'm pumped about Far Cry. I think
Far Cry 3 is an awesome talking point too when I'm talking about Far Cry Primal, because Far Cry 4, it was a good game and it was graphically beautiful. It had a few bugs, but the gameplay was amazing. It was so much fun to play Far Cry 4.
Yeah, it was crispy.
The story was lacking, in my opinion. I didn't feel as motivated or as emotionally attached to the characters as I did in Far Cry 3.
Yeah.
Far Cry 3, good luck arguing with me. Far Cry 3 right off the rip gets you started with emotional attachment. You feel like you need to save your friends in Far Cry 3.
Yeah. I literally had motivation to play that game so I could get the full sleeve tattoo. That's literally the only, one of the reasons I would play it.
That's cool.
Because, every time you got a new thing, like a new random tattoo would show up on your arm. And I was like, yeah. And I wanted to save my friends, and I wanted to kill the crazy voodoo lady at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think gamers today, we're hungry for a nice story. And Far Cry Primal looks like it could potentially serve as a great way to give us a good story as you're playing as a person in the Stone Age, Takar, I think his name is, and you're basically working your way up from basically having no weapons, or you're basically nobody, and you work your way up to become a leader of the tribe who can communicate with animals, I suppose.
Yeah. Whenever you start out, like in these games, there's always like the abilities. Like it's Far Cry, there's always like some sort of weird spiritual ability. In this one, the ability is basically taking over animals, like taming wolves and letting those wolves kill people, taming saber-tooths and training them, taming like an owl, and you can like you can fly around as an owl or a bird, and you can like point out, instead of like using goggles to look through and point out enemies and make them red, you can use an animal that's up in the sky. And that's essentially something that's never really happened in the game. I think that's going to be really, really interesting if it works the way that it's explained.
And what you just said, it kind of reminded me of one of the talking points I wanted to make about this game. In Far Cry 4, one of the parts that was so fun to play in, like, how you could raid bases and basically take them over?
Yeah.
Well, one of the strategies you could use is you could take an elephant and just, like, shoot it in the butt, and it just run everybody over it. That's one of the ways you could literally ride an elephant in there and just shoot everybody up.
Yep.
And this is one of the things that Ubisoft, which is the developer and publisher for this game, it's been developed by Ubisoft Montreal, for those of you who do not know that. But Ubisoft arguably is getting a reputation for taking something in one game and recognizing that people are having an intense amount of fun doing that. For example, Assassin's Creed 3. You had the ship. You could sail in a ship.
Yeah. Assassin's
Cry 4 stems off of that to where you're basically the captain of a pirate ship. And Assassin's Creed 4 was one of the most fun experiences I've had in an Assassin's Creed game. So I'm hoping I have a similar experience here with Far Cry Primal, where they utilize the use of animals again.
I think it's going to be a really cool game. I'm very excited about it. It was kind of like a surprise game. I didn't really expect a Far Cry to be announced this year, but you know how Ubisoft is. They tend to...
They like to push these games out.
Pull games out every year, so...
Yep. And one of the most interesting things that kind of brought my attention to Far Cry Primal, other than the fact that, I love the colors and the graphics of these games. By the way, any kind of gameplay you watch Far Cry Primal, I recommend you turn the settings to 1080p, 60 frames per second, whatever. But the lack of guns in this game, that's something we haven't seen in Far Cry for a minute. And also the lack of vendors to purchase weapons. In this game, you're literally going to have to craft your own weapons and learn new things as you go.
Yeah.
And as you grow as a character.
Exactly. You got to play differently. You got to think of a different play style, which is something new, fresh, that players, may want, may not want, but it's definitely good. Fresh stuff is always good. And honestly, it's gonna be a cool game, I think.
So basically, hopes for Far Cry Primal. I just hope that they bring a great story to the table. I'm already willing to bet that the gameplay is going to be a great time.
Yeah, the gameplay is going to be great. We already know that. I just hope that the story and that the overall plot of this game is something that, is really going to bring us in. Something that's going to get us to think about it while we're at work. That's always a good sign.
Yep, we need us a good story.
Yep. All right, man. Well, the next game that we have is something that's been anticipated for a long time. It's Quantum Break. I'm not sure if you are super familiar with this, but it's an Xbox One exclusive game. It's set to come out April 5th, 2016. It's been delayed a couple times. And essentially, it's a third-person action-adventure game. And you play as a guy named Jack Joyce, and you can manipulate time. You have powers, and there's a world where there's time stutters, and you can make everything freeze except yourself. Kind of like the movie, what was it called? Twitch or whatever that movie was with Adam Sandler, where he had that little thing that stopped everything, and he basically stop time and you can do whatever you want, perform stuff. So there's like a bunch of different things going on. So like essentially it takes place in this place called Riverport University. It's a fictional place in northeastern United States, and a time travel experiment is what goes wrong, and that's what essentially makes everything go crazy in that instance. So the event not only causes time to start breaking down, but it grants two main characters, who is Jack Joyce and Paul Serene, different time-based abilities, which you can play as both. So the main antagonist can see the future and decide different choices that he wants to do, while the other one can stop time and just do whatever he wants. So they are pursued by Monarch Solutions, which is, like a bad people. So essentially, it's there. I don't know a whole lot about the story because I'm trying to stay whenever that comes of stories in games, I try to stay like as blunt as I can because I kind of want to experience it. But essentially, it's about two guys who can.
Yeah, it's like trying to avoid spoilers for The Walking Dead.
Yeah, exactly. So we this game's kind of like, it's a long time in the making, and it's similar. It's, oh my gosh, graphically it looks stupid good, and there's been a lot of behind closed doors gameplay for a lot of people at IGN and The Verge, people like that. So there's been some stuff about it, but it's basically a TV show. You know what I mean? It's gonna.
It almost sounds like, I mean, not identical to this, but it almost sounds like the movie Jumper. You ever watch that movie?
Yeah,
it almost sounds like that.
Very similar. Very
where
similar
these
to
people
that.
have abilities and they're being tracked down by an organization that clearly doesn't think that they should be able to have these abilities.
Mm-hmm. And so this is the thing that's cool about it, is the game features digital episodes that interact with the game based on players' choices. A real life TV show goes along with this, with people that are in the game. So, which is insane. Like, that comes with the game. So there's like TV episodes that go with it. So it's going to be really different, honestly. It's not going to be like your typical single player game. It's kind of like, all these developers are creating these new ways to, make things fresh, make things new. And I think this is something that's going to work. But if it doesn't work the way that they think, I think it's going to be a flop. You probably haven't seen much about this game, but
I've not consumed much media in regards to this game.
That's because based on what I just said, give me something that you think about. Like, what's your first thought when I just said that?
Like you said with the closed gameplays of people, developers, etc. That's honestly a smart thing out of the developer as they get to tweak, and it's almost like using a focus group in research. They're tweaking the games and making decisions based on what feedback they're getting back from these professionals. And I think that's a good way to handle things, as they're not leaking any information out to the audience or the consumer or the gamer that is going to criticize and literally make their decisions in a snap.
Yeah. And so
and that's a great way to kind of ease their way into something that could be a great game.
Exactly. And people aren't going to actually know the full they're not going to get the full experience unless they watch that. But there's 4 episodes that are inside the game that are 22 minutes each, and it basically says, like, in order to get the full experience, it's encouraging you to watch those episodes based off of the things that you do in the game. So I think it's going to be really cool. There's not a whole lot. There's a lot of stuff out there on it, but it's
so. Let me ask you this: what perspective is this game from?
Third person.
Third person. Okay.
Yeah, so there's going to be a lot of third-person games out this year, actually, now that I think about it. Because we're talking about this, we're talking about Gears of War, we're talking about
The Division.
The Division, we're talking about Uncharted. Like, those are all third-person games, which is something
and Dark Souls.
And Dark Souls, so there's a lot of cool stuff that's coming out this year.
Yep, there's definitely a variety coming out.
It's cool. Well, that's Quantum Break.
All right.
Going to be cool.
Next down the list, what will be one of the most anticipated games. Whether or not you are anticipating it because you're excited for it, or whether or not you're anticipating it just for the sheer fact that you want to know what's coming out. Call of Duty.
Call of Duty.
We don't know. Like, we don't talk about Call of Duty enough on this channel. Whatever. We like it.
We love it. Exactly. And we honestly, we talk about what we like. So
this game has no release date. This game, as a matter of fact, has no title.
No title. I mean, it's probably going to come out in November. That's when they all come out. So
yep.
We know that.
So that's tentatively the release date, early November.
We literally know nothing other than Infinity Ward. It's their time right now for this one to come out.
Yep. In the development cycle, it is Infinity Ward, and then up next will be Sledgehammer in 2017, and then back to Treyarch in 2018.
Yeah,
So I guess what we're talking about here, in anticipation for the next Call of Duty title in 2016, because we almost know for a fact that it's going to come out in November, like you said.
Yeah.
We just don't know what the title's going to be.
Yeah,
Some
which we'll
people
find out
say-
probably more in the summertime, but
Yeah, that's usually after the second, or maybe even closer to the third
it's
DLC drop.
Yeah, and it's typically around E3 that we hear anything about it. That's usually when it's launched during not Xbox anymore. It'll be during PlayStation's press conference. They'll probably
Which, any game we talk about here in this episode, if it's not set to have a release date yet, I would almost bank on that release date being set at this year's E3.
Mm-hmm.
Just like Call of Duty, like you said.
Yeah.
So, what do you think, Luke? Is it going to be Ghost 2 or is it going to be Modern Warfare 4?
Okay, so Ghost 2, I honestly don't think it's going to be Ghost 2. I know that the end of Ghost 2 kind of was a cliffhanger because the guy was still alive, but I honestly think that Infinity Ward is going to learn their lesson. I don't think it's going to be Modern Warfare 4. I want it to be Modern Warfare 4, but if it is, I think it's going to be called Modern. I think it's going to be a Modern Warfare game. I just don't know if it's going to say 4 at the end. I think it might just be Call of Duty Modern Warfare, like in general, because there's never been one that's just called Call of Duty Modern Warfare. There's Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, but nothing that's just Call of Duty Modern Warfare. So maybe Call of Duty Modern Warfare with a title or something underneath that. But I think it's going to be in the same universe. I think that Captain Price will be in it. I think that there's going to be a whole new squad, and I think that that's what I think. I don't know, honestly.
Let me ask you
it could
this.
be a whole new series.
Are you suggesting that it's a reboot of the series and it's just going to be basically the same universe in a different story? Or are you just saying it's a whole new game basically breaking off of the last story? Well,
No. I think it's the same exact universe, and I think it's coming off of the last game where Makarov is and spoiler alert, if you've never played this, then I'm sorry. But when Makarov...
You're a little late to the party.
Yeah, and when he gets killed by Captain Price at the end, and pretty much every bad guy's dead, and it's all over. World War III's done. Like, after that, what happens next? And not in the future, just like literally right after that. So it'd be around the time now, probably. It's probably like 2015 or something like that, whenever that ended. So something like that would be great. Oh my gosh, I want something modern. Like I love the games that are out now. I love the future crap, but that's all that comes out now. Like, let's go back. Like Battlefield 4, for instance, is a modern game. There's tons of people that play that game still.
Yeah, a lot of people still argue like Battlefield, the premium DLC, is one of the best things on the market. Like,
yeah, seriously.
They bought it, 2 years ago, and they're still on it.
It's still full price to get premium on Battlefield 4. Like, if that's not saying something, then
that just goes to show the supply and demand in the market. It's obviously still in demand, so they can charge that.
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of it being hopefully Modern Warfare. I don't think it's going to be Ghost 2, but if it's anything, it's going to be Ghost 2 or a complete reboot to something that I don't know. You know what I mean? It could be anything. Or let me bring this out. I don't want this to happen, but who knows? They could go back to World War II. I think that'd be going backwards. I think we're out of that era, but you never know. What do you think?
Multiplayer is undoubtedly going to be fun. I hope so, anyways. Call of Duty Ghosts, it got a lot of criticism.
It was still fun multiplayer, honestly.
Yeah, it was fun for those that don't criticize and dissect everything.
Yeah.
Like I said in previous videos, I played it till I was Master Prestige or whatever. So obviously I enjoyed it that much.
Yeah, you enjoyed it. I mean,
so here's a question.
The DLC was fun playing as
We've
Michael
had
Myers.
two games now where gameplay has had increased verticality via exo jumping or whatever the new system is in Black Ops 3. It's not quite exo jumping, but it's sort of like
robotic arms and stuff,
Yeah, the wall running, which I think is incredibly fun. But what do you think? Are they going to go back to fighting on the ground, like infantry troops?
Back on the ground. I think it's a great idea, honestly. I know
a lot of people are yearning for that. That love
honestly.
that in a Call of Duty game, because to be honest, people...
It's OG, man. Like, it's Call of Duty. It's like what people that started playing Call of Duty, like our age people, know Call of Duty for. We don't know it for being able to run on walls and stuff. We know it for...
So that could honestly bring back a feeling of nostalgia that we might have.
Yeah. A great
see
feeling
that.
of nostalgia. Or it could be a little bit in the future, but like they're going to be realistic about us. Not like in 50 years from now, I'm pretty sure we're not going to be running on walls with these giant exosuits. I don't think we're that smart. So I think it'll probably be a little bit more in the future, but it'll be more realistic when it comes to kind of like Ghost was like, I don't know, it was like 50 years in the future or something like that, and it just showed a big giant explosion that happened in the United States. It's not like everyone had insanely cool, futuristic stuff, but it was still modern in the gun area. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I can see that.
I don't know. I have a lot of hope for it because I love Infinity Ward, and Infinity Ward just hired on a couple guys from Naughty Dog. They're like main story people, so that's going to be huge. If that means anything,
That would definitely sway my opinion of the story, the upcoming story in Call of Duty's next title. If I were you, I would get excited for it. If Naughty Dog has a hand in it, or anybody from Naughty Dog has a hand in it.
If Naughty Dog has anything to do with anything, I'm going to be pumped.
So basically, all I would like out of Call of Duty is their stories are usually intense and they're amazing.
Yeah.
For the 6 hours that you get them. So basically, I'd like more than 6 hours.
Yeah, I want 50 hours.
And something that's not repetitive.
Yeah.
If that's possible.
Something like I can still go back to Modern Warfare 1, like Call of Duty 4, and replay the missions.
I already know what mission you're talking about. Everybody knows what mission is the best mission from COD 4.
Yeah.
Yes.
And like I thought about it the other day. I'm like, dude, all I want to do right now is play Call of Duty 4's campaign. Like, that's how good it is. I want something like that again.
It was great. It was great.
So
what game you got next, Luke?
Gears of War 4. So, all you Xbox fans out there, this will be the first Gears of War specifically for the next generation console. I mean, they just redid like a remade version of Gears of War, which is 1080p, 60 frames a second. But this is a completely new Gears of War game. It was talked about kind of in E3 2013, and then also in E3 2014, and then a lot in E3 2015. They actually showed some gameplay, but we don't really know a whole bunch, honestly. Like, they do a really good job at Microsoft in keeping this game under wraps. So the Gears of War series is something I've always played. Travis had not played. It's one of the first games I ever played on my Xbox, and it's a great game. The old games are great, but honestly, after 2, like I was like, I don't even know where they're going to go with this. It gets kind of repetitive. So this is a really, really highly anticipated game. But it says it's supposed to be released in Q4 this year, but I don't know. It probably won't get released this year. We're just talking about it because if it does, it has the possibility of maybe revamping what the entire game is and maybe bringing out more and more and more. So who knows? Phil Spencer, which is Xbox's owner, like he's the guy who runs Xbox, he's pretty pumped about this game, and he was pumped to talk about it during E3. So Gears of War 4. I don't even know if the main character is going to be in it. The gameplay they showed didn't have Marcus in it, which Marcus is the main guy. There's not really a story or anything. You know what I mean? Like, it just was announced that it's going to happen. It was kind of a surprise at E3. So what do you think, Travis? I know you don't have a huge opinion on this because you don't play Gears,
and it's unfortunate that I've never played it as a PlayStation guy. That's the story we live, right? You've never played Uncharted because you haven't been a PlayStation guy traditionally,
yep.
And it's a shame that you haven't played it. But you will eventually, and I'm sure I'll eventually get my hands on Gears of War and I'll try it out. Because back in the day when I was still in high school, Gears of War was what everybody was talking about, and it's where a lot of first-person esports players today. They transitioned from Gears of War to games like Halo and Call of Duty just because of popularity. But back then, Gears of War was where it was at.
Yeah, that's what I played. That was
from my understanding.
I played Call of Duty 4, and then I played this online, and everyone played Gears online. Had Xbox 360s. It was huge when I was in high school. Like, we would just talk about this at school and talk about how crappy I was at it because I was terrible at Gears.
Oh yeah,
it's like you have to be really skilled to be good at this game, honestly. And it's third person, and there's a lot I could explain on this. All I know is I'm just letting everybody know. It's set to come out this year. We'll probably find out more about it this year. I just wanted to see what you thought about it.
Here's a question and a thought. Is this game being produced for the last gen of consoles?
No, it's only going to be coming out for Xbox One. So, sorry, all the Xbox 360 fans out there who have played all 3 games. You can play. This is the cool thing. If you have an Xbox 360 and you want to play on Xbox One, buy yourself an Xbox One. You can play Gears 1, Gears 2, and Gears 3 on the Xbox One because they're all backwards compatible.
That is cool. But what do you think about the fact that they have took all their time and effort and put it into the next gen console? I mean, I think it'll bring back a feeling of nostalgia for those people who have Xbox Ones and love the old Gears of War series, but it's created just for the new console. Like, it's not a remastered version of the old stuff. It's totally new. What do you think that brings to the table?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know if this is just going too far. I kind of felt like Gears could have ended happily at Gears 3. But for the people that love it, for the diehard fans, I think this is for them. This is something that's going to come out for them. But they have to understand that, eventually games are going to come out for the old generation consoles, and this is just part of that running series. So they're putting
totally
a lot,
understand, and we're going to see a lot of that in 2016.
We sure are. A lot of that. We're already starting to see it now. So, it's going to be cool, but I don't have that much of an opinion on it. I'll probably play it, but I'm not just. It must have just been my generational of age that I was playing it. Like, it was great at the time, but now I'm just not into it. It kind of just got repetitive for me. The same stuff was happening. It was dark. I felt like I was underground all the time. Like, the same story kept happening. But, a lot of people could argue with me and tell me I'm stupid, but that's just my opinion on it.
Well, one of these days I'm going to have to play it, get my hands on it, and formulate my own opinion.
Yep. So
we're going to have to see.
Let's move on to the next one.
All right. Well, speaking of, games that are creating sequels for the current gen of consoles instead of the last generation, we're going to talk about Dark Souls 3. And Dark Souls 3 is coming out for the PC, Xbox One, and PS4 exclusively. And, Dark Souls 3 is produced by the same developer that's produced all the other games in the series. I think this is the fourth installation of a Dark Soulsian game, if you will. Bloodborne being the most recent, and then Dark Souls 2 prior to that. And its release date, oddly enough, is set to August. No, my bad. All I know is it's coming out earlier in Japan than it is everywhere else in the world.
Interesting. That's very interesting.
Yeah,
it's usually the opposite of that, isn't it?
Well, I see that the person that's created the game, the director, the producer, or whatever, is from Japan, obviously, and that could explain why that is.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, completely unrelated to the game, and kind of an interesting topic, how much do you think a person here in America that is insanely crazy about Dark Souls and Dark Souls games is going to pay for one of those Japanese titles?
First of all, they're stupid if they do that, because I don't even think you can play Japanese copy games on an American PlayStation. Just like,
really?
Right, let me tell you a story.
Okay.
Whenever FIFA 09 came out, it came out earlier in England, so I ordered a copy of it from England and from Xbox 360. Didn't work because it was an English copy. So I would assume the same exact thing happens with those copies. But think of it this way. Which person's going to fly to Japan and buy that game with the bundle? If there's a bundle. Think about that. I don't think anyone would, but I'm sure. No, actually, there's probably one person out there that's sitting in their mom's basement pumped to go to Japan. They're probably not in their mom's basement if they can afford to go to Japan, but going to Japan, and they're going to stand in line at midnight if they do that in Japan to get Dark Souls 3.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Don't you make... No, I'm just kidding. Honestly, that'd be a cool experience. It'd be a sight more...
If you could afford it, I would do
adventurous than, going to Taco Bell prior to going to GameStop.
That's true. That's what we do. That's what we used to do. That was our life, man. We'd go to Taco Bell,
and it was a great time. But anyway, this is a third-person action role-playing game by From Software. And, the old Dark Souls games, as I said before, were released on the Xbox 360 and PS3. Now, here's the thing. Dark Souls is one of those games where if you're crazy about it, you're crazy about it. But if you don't like it, you don't like it. And I know that there's a lot of people out there that just simply don't like it. And here's the interesting thing. Can't talk. Here's the interesting thing. The developer and the publisher are catering to a set of gamers that want and yearn for a difficult game.
Yes. And that's one of the reasons that I don't play these, because they're too hard.
It is really hard. And I played Dark Souls 2 and I played Bloodborne, both of which were extremely fun. But I guess I'm one of those people that don't play for the challenge as
Same.
much as I'd like to think I do. I'm looking for a story, and when you set me in a world that's dark, yeah, it's fun and it's beautiful to look at, especially Dark Souls 3 gameplay if you haven't looked at it. The customization, of course, is probably going to be insane, but there's really nothing that keeps me interested in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Other than the fact that, there's going to be a crazy boss. I know that the boss fights are going to be insane.
It's going to take you 4 hours to beat him because you're going to have to figure out how to do it the right way.
Yep.
Every time I played Dark Souls 2, I played for like 30 minutes, walked around, thought it looked beautiful, got to something that was too hard, played it 7 times, and then I threw the controller, and then I never played it again. So I'm like you. I'm probably worse than you, actually, when it comes to... I play games specifically knowing that I can beat them and that there's not going to be a whole lot of challenge, because I play video games to have fun, number one, and number two, to relax and kind of forget about what's happening in real life. Whenever the game is harder than what I'm dealing with in real life, then I definitely don't want to play that game. And that's
I could see that.
That's kind of like what I feel like in this game, where it is great for a lot of gamers, because there are a ton of hardcore gamers out there. It'll be great for them, but for the easygoing, want to relax type of people, good luck.
Right, and to be accurate, this game will come out March 24th in Japan and April 12th worldwide. I know my brother and a couple of my friends out there, they love Dark Souls, and they're super passionate about it. One of my buddies actually will go as far as to tell you that he thinks Bloodborne should have won Game of the Year instead of The Witcher 3.
There's a lot of people that said that. People loved Bloodborne, man. They were like digging on that game.
Yep. And, I'm not like a Dark Souls pro by any means. Like, I'm the definition of clueless when it comes to the Dark Souls lore. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. But what I can tell you is this: Dark Souls 2 was hard.
Oh, I bet, man. I bet it was hard.
It was so hard. And Bloodborne was definitely an easier time. I thought it was a lot easier than Dark Souls 2, and I think Dark Souls 3 is going to come back. And while there's a couple more offensive features and it plays a little less defensively, I believe, than Bloodborne did, I could be totally wrong in saying that, but I just think it's going to be a refreshing way for people to play it, but still have that Soulsian feel to it that, you're going to die hundreds of times.
Yeah, you're not going to beat this first try. It's not happening.
Well, there are people out there that can do it. You watch.
Oh, I'm sure there are, dude. I'm sure there's 50 videos of people beating the game with a Guitar Hero. You never know. Cool.
Well, I mean, that's basically all I have for Dark Souls. I wish I could talk more about it, because the people out there that are passionate about it are super passionate about Dark Souls.
Oh, yeah.
And, I just don't know enough about it, and I'm not as motivated to play it. I don't know what kind of gamer that makes me to you, but I guess I look for more or easily accessible gratification when I play a video game than what I can get out of Dark Souls. It's just not my cup of tea.
Mm-hmm. So, it's coming out this year, essentially.
Yep.
Get pumped.
Earlier this year, earlier than E3, I suppose.
Exactly.
Is what you could say.
Yep. Sweet. All right, well, up next is a personal favorite of mine, Mirror's Edge Catalyst. So, it's set to come out May 24th. It's going to be out for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Not sure if it's coming out for PC. It doesn't say anywhere. It's basically a reboot of Mirror's Edge original game. So Mirror's Edge came out, I don't remember, 2008, something like that. And it was insanely cool, man. Like, it's a game, it's first person, and it's just like parkour around the city. But you're running away from people and punching people, and it had a really good story. And I have a friend named Zach Wright. This was his he played this game like 15 times. You know Zach Wright?
Yeah.
He played this game 15 times. It's a great game. Visually, the art, the colors, the bright colors. It's so good. So it's created by EA, and it's an action-adventure platform video game. It's story-based. It's not really a multiplayer game. And it revolves around Faith, which is the main character who you are. You're a female, and you're pretty much trying to attempt to overthrow a totalitarian giant corporation who's ruling the city of glass. So this city is all glass. That's one of the coolest things. Is because you're jumping around all these buildings and stuff. They're all glass buildings. I remember when it came out in 2008 on what was the next-gen consoles, like Xbox 360, what I played it on, it looked like next-gen, man. It was beautiful. So what happened with this Catalyst version is I'm not 100% sure if they even know what's going on, or if anyone knows what's going on. We can't really it's like a reboot of the original, so it's kind of the original story's game, but it's not the original story. Like it says, the use of levels and linear gameplay found in the first Mirror's Edge has been replaced with an open world free roaming environment. So it's going to be open world rather than, just the first game was just like levels, you know what I mean? Like a single player where you just did a level and it was one way. So this is going to be the first game with, an open world connected to it. So I don't know if that means anything to you, because I don't know if you played Mirror's Edge, but Mirror's Edge was...
I did not play Mirror's Edge, and stemming off the trend that we kind of have here, I'm assuming it's another third-person title.
No, it's first person.
It's first person.
It's
really?
first person. So you played what's that zombie game where you're jumping around doing parkour?
Dying Light. I've actually played a little bit of that this week.
So Dying Light, the gameplay from this game is what Dying Light used as their gameplay. The parkour, running around walls, jumping around, except a little bit more hardcore than that. This girl is crazy and can jump and run on walls and do backflips and run through things and fight people and take a gun and shoot someone with it while punching someone and then jumping off a giant thing and then somehow going through a window, and then like that's what this game is essentially. And it's like it's like those games where you're just like mind blown because so much crap is happening all at once. And that's what I'm looking forward to in this game, because think about that in 60 frames per second at 1080p. That's going to be like I'm just going to fall down and pass out because I'm so excited. Because sometimes
I see it's developed by EA Dice, and it uses the Frostbite 3 engine, which is
crispy
used for games, for like Battlefield and a couple of the Need for Speed games, I believe.
Yeah,
and those games are very graphically pleasing.
Yeah, Battlefield 4 looks better still than a bunch of games that are coming out now.
Absolutely, you couldn't show me a screenshot of Battlefield 4 right now and then tell me that it was something that was made 2 years ago. It's hard to believe that, but it's true. So that just goes to show how good the Frostbite 3 engine is.
Yeah, so Mirror's Edge, I don't have much more to say. It's going to be sweet. It's going to be fast. It's going to be similar to the original, and it's going to bring a lot of nostalgia to a lot of people. It's going to be one of those games where you want to take a break from Call of Duty or a game that's heavily multiplayer based. You want to go have some fun, feel like a hardcore parkour person.
Hardcore parkour.
And do that. And that's what I think Mirror's Edge is going to do. Hopefully it comes out this year. Hopefully it doesn't get delayed. If it does, then that's a good thing.
The gameplay certainly sounds fun, and I'm looking forward to seeing these graphics.
Awesome.
With that Frostbite 3 engine. So up next is one of the games that, I'm not 100% on, and I'm sure nobody is, because the only piece of gameplay I could find is just basically the same setting over and over again, and that's Horizon Zero Dawn, which is...
Ooh, yes.
Yeah, it's being developed by Guerrilla Games, and for those of you who are not familiar with that developer, you probably are. They developed the Killzone games. Basically, they're responsible for all of them, and it's being published by Sony Computer Entertainment, and it's going... From what I can tell, it's going to be an action role-playing game played in the third person using the same engine that was used to create Killzone Shadowfall a couple years ago.
Yeah. That game, dude, this game that you're talking about right now is going to be... I've seen gameplay of it at E3 and kind of did some research. It's like so much different than I would think of any game that's out right now. You know what I mean? It
definitely looks different, and... I mean, you could come at this with an open mind and see that it's 1,000 years in the future, and the protagonist is a female archer warrior that is fighting a land that's ruled by mechanized dinosaurs.
Yeah, it's like, what the heck?
That sounds insane. And the gameplay is said to be, a mix between Assassin's Creed and Elder Scrolls Skyrim. That is insane, and if that's true, I think that's something to be extremely excited about, because I love Assassin's Creed, and I love Skyrim even more. Skyrim's one of the best games of all time, so I think for a critic to put that kind of tag on this game, it better live up to it. That's all I'm
Yeah,
going to
a
say.
lot of games that are like this, I swear, anytime I play a game like this, I go in like with like an open mind. Turns out freaking great. Literally, I think this is going to be one of the next big games.
So there you go. I like that you said that, because if you go into this with a closed mind, which is easy to have, you say, "What? Really?
What? That's not possible."
1,000 years in the future, and it's post-apocalyptic. It's ruled by robot dinosaurs, and you're fighting them with a bow. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Take a step back and think about the gameplay and how fun that could be potentially. Thinking of it in a matter of practicality is going to lead to probably a sour taste right out of the gate. And I don't want to look at this game like that. The graphics look okay, but this doesn't look like one of those games that should be played for the graphics. It looks like it's going to be a pretty crazy story, and even crazier gameplay, from what I've heard.
Yeah. It's going to be something else, I
Yep,
think.
this is another one of those titles, though, that we don't have a set release date for. We know that it's basically slated to release in 2016, so I'm thinking we're going to hear more about it at E3.
Same. I think this could be a possible delay on a game, and if it is, it's going to be for the best, because I think that this game is going to be cool, based on what I saw, honestly, at E3 last year and some of the research I've done. I think that it's going to be it's the fresh look. I think a lot of these developers this year coming up are trying to make things fresh, but not overdoing the freshness. Like it's games that are similar to what's out now, but with a fresh outlook, a fresh gameplay, a fresh design, a fresh world, especially with the game I'm going to talk about next. Like, dude, it's going to be a good year for games, honestly.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm really interested to see how they're going to spin that same engine they took for Killzone Shadowfall and turn it into a third-person single-player experience. That's going to be something that's interesting to see, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah, we'll see. Honestly, I don't know, man. I think it's going to be cool. So, awesome. Next up, you want to hear what's next up?
Let's hear it.
This is my last game that I have on here. How many do you have left? One more?
I got one more.
Awesome. So, next one is No Man's Sky. Something I'm looking forward to a lot, and I know a lot of people are looking forward to. So this game's similar, not the way that it's played, not the way that it is with the game, but it's similar to the way that Ubisoft has been keeping, the Division under wraps, kind of like the story, and kind of keeping it like not out there as somebody knows every single thing about it. This game is made by Hello Games. It's going to be coming out for both consoles. It hasn't specifically been stated that it'd come out for Xbox One. Like, they've said it's going to come out for PlayStation 4. The gameplay's been playing on PlayStation 4. But they haven't, specifically said Xbox One. But they did say that it's going to come out for Microsoft Windows systems. So I'm assuming that means it will come out for Xbox. But it is a open world universe. Like, not open world, it's an open universe. Now, let me tell you guys this before you all poop your pants. This game includes, and this is real, this is true and this is a real thing I'm saying. This game includes over 18 quintillion, I don't know.
Quintillion? I don't know.
1.8 times 10 to the power of 19 planets. That's how many planets are in this universe. And you, Travis, you can go to every single one of those planets.
You know what? Now that you're talking about this, I believe I received an issue of Game Informer that kind of had an in-depth article about this game, and now that you're talking about it and it's coming out in 2016, I'm getting kind of excited. Let's talk about this. Let's hear it.
Yeah, so this game it's like an adventure survival video game, and like I said, it's an indie studio, Hello Games. Not a lot of people have heard of them, but players are free to explore an entirety of procedurally generated deterministic open universe, like I just said, and there's like its own each planet has its own set of flora and fauna, and players can explore and gain information about planets, where they can submit it to the Atlas, which is like a universal database that's shared among other players. So like you're going out and you're finding all these different places with different things on them, and you can show other players, because not everyone's going to figure out what every single planet is. That's too many for a normal human to do. which is crazy. So players gain materials and blueprints to upgrade their characters' equipment, purchase a variety of starships, allowing them to travel deeper into the center of the galaxy. You can interact with friendly or hostile manners to computer-controlled space-faring factions, and you can trade ships, you can battle people, you can get killed. There could be something that is dangerous, there could be something that is not dangerous. And I don't really think that, like, from what I've read and what I've researched, there's not really like a set game. Like, I don't really know anything about a story to this game other than what they've shown is you can go anywhere you want in this universe and you can explore. And
it almost sounds
it blows my mind, dude. It's like making my head hurt thinking about if that's even possible. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it almost sounds like an MMO experience, like a shared world, I believe.
Yeah.
That people can, go experience these new planets and log them into the database and, I guess help each other survive maybe, or...
Yeah, kind of. Like it says, players take the role of a planetary explorer in an uncharted universe, and they're equipped with a survival spacesuit, and you get a jetpack, and you get a multi-tool, which is used to like scan and collect stuff. And you just kind of just travel, and you upload stuff to the Atlas, which is the galactic database, which is something that other players can see. I'm not sure if you can be in the same like universe as players. Like it doesn't say it's an MMO, but
well, I mean, shared world MMO.
Yeah, I think it might be a shared world.
It might be. I'm not sure.
I'm not 100%. Doesn't work. I'm kind of clueless on this one. Like I know a lot about it, but a lot of people are clueless on this one because they really haven't like put out a lot of details about it. IGN knows a lot about it. IGN did a thing this summer where they kind of like really went in depth with it because they got to play it a bunch and they got to like watch it and watch people play it. But dude, from what I watched, man, they say that you'll see it. You'll go to these planets and you'll go to a planet you may never see it again, ever again.
Wow, that's insane, and that's a super dynamic.
Like how big
experience that they're creating that I've never experienced that before.
What is this going to be, a 5 terabyte download? Like, are you kidding me? This game's going to be huge.
Oh, yeah, 500 gigabytes doesn't sound like it's going to cut it, does it?
No, I'm just kidding. It'll probably be somehow they'll have it right. I don't know, but, dude, this game's going to be...
So what can we expect graphically? I know a lot of games are trying to push the envelope today to create, like, the realest graphics possible, but from what I remember seeing in that issue of Game Informer, this kind of had, like, a steampunkish cartoon-type look.
It does.
Which a lot of people knock on that, but I completely value and respect and love in a way that developers come out with games that look like that, like Borderlands, for example.
Yeah, of course. I think the game is going to look, it looks, oh my gosh, it looks insanely cool. It's like bright colors, high contrast, high saturation type of stuff. There's dinosaurs on some planets that are giant, which is kind of crazy. But it looks, like you said, steampunk, bright colored, not realistic looking. You know what I mean? It's not like going to be the most realistic. It's going to be more of a cartoonish indie. Like if you think of an indie game, it looks like it would look like a game that was an indie game. Something that's not super crazy, but something that's really in depth, and it's got a cool art to it. Like the art structure of this is something that you can respect. Like, man, the art on this game looks so good. I'm so excited about it. It's going to be a good one. So that's No Man's Sky. What's the very last game of this episode, Travis?
Well, it looks like it's going to be one of the more anticipated games, and it's by a certain developer that we've come to know and love for delaying multiple titles and delivering an awesome story, and that's Uncharted 4: A Thief's End.
Oh, snap.
Yep, we get to see the sequel to Uncharted 3: Drake's Deception, and it's the fourth, and here's the word nobody wants to hear, final installment of the Uncharted series.
A.K.A. Drake Dead.
Starring Nathan Drake. I mean, A Thief's End. Let's play the story and find out.
Yep.
I hope Nathan doesn't die, but
I hope he doesn't die either. That would suck. I hope he just has like a kid or something, and there's gonna be new ones that are called Uncharted. Nathan Drake Jr.
Nathan Drake Jr.
They won't be called Uncharted. They'll be called Charted.
It's developed by Naughty Dog, and like I said, it was set to come out in 2015, if I'm not mistaken. and it was pushed back to March 18th, 2016 to allow additional time for development, and then it was delayed again on December 23rd, several weeks ago.
I kind of figured it'd be delayed, honestly, for
And
the
then-
way that this game looks.
And now the final release date, I suppose what we're hearing is it's going to be June 4th.
Yeah.
No, that's not right. It's going to be in 2016.
Just sometime this year it's going to come out. If it gets delayed, it'll come out at the end
I
of this year. If it doesn't, it'll come out at the beginning of next year. That's essentially what's probably going to happen. Like, I know this game's probably done. It's getting close to done. Gold Master's probably not been here yet, but honestly, like, this game's got to be close.
I would look for this title to come out near the end of April. That's what I'm thinking, and I think that's confirmed at this point, but who knows? They could push it back another month. You never know.
They could. You never know with them, but it's not a bad thing because look at The Last of Us pushed back a bunch, and it was the best game ever.
So like, I mean, I've talked about it with Luke here before. So often today we're playing games that are multiplayer based, and it's based on loot and yada, yada, yada. It's what everybody's playing. It's kind of getting worn out, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm ready for this game. I believe Uncharted 3 was for the last generation of games.
It sure was, but they did just release the three games for PlayStation 4.
You can now play Uncharted for the first time, which is cool.
Yes.
But this one has been developed totally for PlayStation 4.
Mm-hmm. Similar to Gears of War, how that's completely for Xbox One only.
But yeah, stemming off of what I was just saying, this looks like it's going to be a great story. The Uncharted games have provided countless hours of fun gameplay for me, and I haven't even played Uncharted 3 yet. Uncharted 3 came out, I'm unsure exactly when it came out, a few years back. But I just didn't play it for whatever reason. I didn't pick it up. And now I feel the need that I need to go pick up Uncharted 3 and be ready for Uncharted 4.
Yeah.
Because the graphics look amazing. Like a lot of games we've talked about here in this episode, it's a third-person shooter, action-adventure. And I do believe that this Uncharted is going to feature multiplayer.
Yeah, just like the other ones. The other ones had multiplayer. And I have a lot of friends that actually played the first Uncharted multiplayer a lot. Like, they went hard. Like, team deathmatch type of stuff,
Yeah, and I find that a lot of people that play Naughty Dog's multiplayer, I don't know how much of a player base it has comparatively to the first-person shooters that are played today, but the people that play it, they're good at it.
Yeah, they are. They know what's up.
You go into a Last of Us multiplayer right now.
Oh,
you watch what happens. They are insane.
Yeah, you're done for. Just don't do it.
I just feel like a fish in water getting eaten by a giant predator.
That's the truth, man. Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to this because I'm gonna go ahead and buy the first 3 games for my PlayStation 4 right before this comes out. I'm gonna play all 3 of them. I've played Uncharted 3. There's like a demo that you could play, so I've played like a little bit of it, so I know what the mechanics are. It's a lot of the mechanics are very similar to The Last of Us. I kind of felt like I was Joel. I don't know why. But it was cool, and I'm going to play all of them, and I'm going to play this one, and I'm going to get that full experience, and I'm really excited because I've only heard good things about these games.
So that experience is going to be pretty insane for you. Like, it's been years since I played Uncharted 1 and 2. So I don't know if I should revisit those games, try to get like my mind primed and ready for Uncharted 4 after, of course, playing and completing Uncharted 3.
Yeah.
But it's almost like you're going to get introduced to a brand new Netflix show and you're going to binge watch all 4 seasons back to back.
That's some truth right there, man. I'm going to. It's going to be awesome. I'm going to do it. It's going to happen. And
well, I mean,
it's going to be cool. It's something I've always looked forward to, honestly. I've been waiting for this to happen.
That's going to be an insane experience for you, and I'm pumped for you. But, I mean, this is going to be a long episode as it is, and that's the last game I got to talk about. And I'm sure you as a viewer is wondering why we're not talking about a certain game that we've talked about on here before that was slated to release in 2016. What game is it, Luke?
I don't even want to say.
It's Destiny 2.
Gosh, man.
It's been pushed back to 2017, I suppose. That's all we know. I guessed it would have been released in September, but it's not.
Dude, I thought for sure it'd come out this year. Come on.
Yeah, it's whatever. But I think that's about all the time we got.
Yeah, that's what we got, guys. This is a little bit longer of an episode, but we just covered so many games. We covered so much information. We hope you really enjoyed it. We hope you get some of these games this year and give us your feedback on which games you liked.
Yeah, which games should we play?
Exactly, because we're going to play these games and we're going to show you what they're like. That's essentially what we're here to do. So make sure you follow us on Twitter. We're at Clueless Gamers 2. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe, like, share, tweet, retweet. Put us on Xanga, whatever you want to do. Because we are the Clueless Gamers. So,
Yep.
Travis, thank you for joining me tonight. I had a good time. I hope everybody else here had a good time if they're still here.
Yep, as always, guys. Luke, thanks for doing it, and everybody else doing all that social media stuff, like, comment, share, subscribe. We really do appreciate it, and it's a proper way of motivation, to be honest.
Yes, it is, and we love you.
That we do. That we do.
All right, guys. Until next week, we are the Clueless Gamers, and we love you. You're cute. Adios.